Discarnate voices, moving objects and apparitions caught live in one of Sydney's most haunted funeral homes, as we discuss
Real ghost cams.
tonight on Paranormal TV. I'm Guy,
And I'm Loui.
and we talk about the strange, weird UFOs, ghost, paranormal, cryptozoology, missing persons, ancient occult, murders and witchcraft here on Paranormal TV. Also available on facebook.com/paranormal TV. So tonight I'm going to hand you over to Loui, who's going to talk about a funeral home that she worked in Sydney, and it's one of the most creepy experiences you'll ever hear,
Thank you.
with footage.
Yes. So I did start working at this funeral home. I was there for approximately about 3 years. During my time there, I spent most of my time as a mortician, but I would also help out on funerals and things like that. I spent a lot of time in the back end of the warehouse, and I would often hear a lot of strange noises. You know, you'd hear people walking down the hallways of the funeral home. You would often think that it was just someone else that worked there, and you'd stick your head around to see who was coming, or you would, have a look around to see who was walking around, and there's just nobody there. You would hear it when there was nobody else but you in the funeral home. And you'd start to hear like the knocks and the bumps, and you would actually start to hear voices. Now this actually made me feel at some points that I was going crazy, literally going crazy. At one point, you would hear someone talking to you, and you couldn't hear what they said, so you would go to the people that worked at the funeral home and you'd be like, what did you say to it? Like, did you just say something?
I mean, like, no, I wasn't
And they're
talking.
going,
What are you talking?
No, like, I said nothing. I've just been sitting in my office doing my work. I'm like, are you sure you didn't say something? Like, I'm sure someone just said something to me. And they're like, no, we've been here the whole time. There weren't many people that worked there. There was usually around about 4 or 5 of us at one time. Most times it was usually about 3 of us, 2 to 3 of us in the actual building at the time. On occasion, when we had a funeral, we'd have a few more staff around. But one particular time stuck out to me where I'd heard a male voice talking to me. Couldn't hear what they said, so at that time it was the boss and myself. I went into his office and went, what do you want? Kind of thing. I'm busy, piss off, what do you want? Kind of thing. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I went, didn't you just call out to me or ask something, or didn't you just say something? And he's like, no. And I was kind of like going, you're shitting me, right? Like, you're having me on. And he's like, no, not at all. But he goes, I've just been sitting in here doing my work. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I'm positive I just heard someone call my name.
But didn't he tell you a story about a little boy?
Well, this is where I'm getting to. He then proceeded to tell me, he goes that there had been some sort of strange things that had been going on in the funeral home, and through a short, I guess you'd call a little investigation into some of the things that had happened in that building, they came down to the fact that there was a young 16-year-old Aboriginal boy who had passed away in this building before it had become a funeral home. And they believe that was who was the main spirit haunting this particular place.
We can't show you the Aboriginal boy because of tribal reasons.
We did have footage on it of this young boy, what we believe to be the young boy. He was sitting on a pallet in the back warehouse of the funeral home, and all of a sudden just disappears off screen. It's just casually sitting there on a pallet, and then 1 minute and next minute he's gone. It can't be explained, and unfortunately, as Guy's just said, for their own spiritual purposes, they don't want to have this on the internet. Also, the boss was not overly didn't really want things like this out because of the funeral home and things like that, so he'd prefer to keep things a little bit more quiet. So unfortunately we don't have the video or the footage of the apparition there and they're not being there, but we do have some other video that I did manage to capture at this funeral home.
There are some other cool ghost photos and stuff in one of the previous YouTube videos. I'd like you to watch them all. Like and subscribe and watch them all. You'll love them. But anyway, yeah, back to...
But this video that we're about to show you anyway, it doesn't show a full apparition, but it does show quite a few orbs that appear flying around my head while I'm videoing it, and also in what we call the chapel of the funeral home. So we'll just put this video on for you now, see what you think. If you have a look at the middle screen, the very, very middle one, you'll start to see a few balls of light appear from left to right on the screen. Now at this point in time, no one had been in this room since the day before. Yeah. So there was no dust unsettled, there was nothing there. We didn't actually have any air conditioning or anything on at this point in time. Those that are commenting that there is a coffin in there and it was the night before, this person had been embalmed, so it doesn't necessarily need refrigeration. So we haven't entered this room at all today in this particular photo.
There it is again. Yeah.
So these balls of light that you're seeing are definitely not dust motes. We weren't in the room at all.
Oh, there's the one.
And
in the
if you have
office.
a look on the to the right there, just at the very end of the video, you'll see I think there was 2 balls of light that actually went over my head.
So I might just do that again. Yeah. Do that again. So the bottom left is the warehouse, and you can see some crates and things. That's where the boy had appeared in previous. Now you can see the orb moving in the middle. And again, just there. And again, up the top. Looking at the middle frame now. And now as it reaches towards the end, there's 2. Another 2 in the middle.
And if you look to the far right, you'll see my head just at the bottom of the screen there. Right middle, and you'll see 2 balls of light go over my head just towards the end of the video there.
Any time now, any second.
There's one.
There's 1, 2.
And 2. Yeah, so I did manage to capture those little small orbs or balls of light that we just saw then.
Oh, on a side note, yeah, remember that time, actually this is a bit of a sad story. My cousin was, I won't get into the details of his death, but I got a call from his best friend saying he's not going to last long and he's in hospital. This was late at night, about 11 o'clock. You probably should get to see him. And where I was living at the time was about a 4-hour drive to get to the hospital. I just knew I wasn't going to make it, and I said, well, we'll see how it goes. I'll check up in the morning. So I get a call a little bit closer to midnight, and it's from his friend again saying, you don't need to come. He's passed away. But it was early that morning at about 5 a.m. I just woke up with a presence in the room, and we're both in bed together because we have that relationship. But there was a ball of light that came into the room, similar to the size that you saw in those videos, about the size of a golf ball, of white bright light, and it was just doing circles in the room. And we both knew that it was my cousin that had
Come to visit.
Maybe
say goodbye.
And say goodbye. And I wish I was better at having those psychic abilities to be able to communicate, but unfortunately, not quite there yet.
On another note, though, didn't you get a video from one of our followers or something like that?
Oh yeah,
Facebook?
one of our Facebook friends from our Paranormal TV Facebook page had submitted a video that I'd like to play now. Let's get that one right.
Just while we're playing this video, just take into account that no one at this point in time was smoking anything at all. Cigarette, shisha, vapes, nothing was being smoked at this point in time. There was no incense, there was nothing there.
And then you get that fog appearing. So this lady's just having a drink and talking to her friend on FaceTime, and another person that's there is videoing it. You see, you'll just go back here. You can see an orb near the corner of her laptop, on the right side of the laptop. about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, there was definitely something caught on camera. They weren't aware of it until after they played back the video to see that there was actually some anomaly in the video. They're quite apparent that there was an anomaly in the video.
Yeah, she had reported things, going missing and that around the house. And after obviously filming that scene with the lady there doing FaceTime with her friend, she then sent the video to me and said, "What do you think? I just saw another orb there on the top right hand corner of the laptop." So the trick to seeing orbs and spirits and that kind of thing, I guess initially the best practice is if you think something's in your house, grab your camera phone and start videoing. If you wanted to see them with your naked eye, the trick is to practice in a meditative state, maybe to do some meditation and sit in a room. And I'm looking up thinking about practicing in a house. If you've got a wall and a ceiling where they join, like that, you know what I mean. You bring your eyesight back so that everything is just a little bit blurry, and that's when you see them. I often see spirits as blue balls of light and things that wander through the house occasionally, because that's what happens here. we're kind of used to it, and we have a haunted doll and haunted objects that I'm quite happy to talk about and show in another video, and lots of magical occult items and things.
I was just going to say, if you were talking about the way that you see them trying to concentrate on unfocusing your eyes, I guess you would call it, for anyone who's out there that's done those 3D puzzles where you've got to put it to your face and pull it away.
Really good analogy.
Very, very similar.
Yeah.
You've got to have that kind of anti-focus, I guess you would call it, to be able to see a spirit.
That's a word, anti-focus.
Is it?
Yeah, well, you made it up.
I made a word up. Anti-focus.
Anti-focus.
Yeah, anti-focused.
Yeah, and sometimes you feel a presence, cold and funny smells and things like that.
Yeah, very, very strange.
Like what happened
smells.
the other night when we were kind of having a bit of a cuddle, and it's time to go to sleep, and then I'm smelling Louie's breath, and she's going, "Well, have I got bad breath?" And I went, "Oh," and then she said, "Oh, you said you smelt something," and I said, "Yeah," or it was dog shit smell.
Yeah.
Fresh dog shit smell, and I think you might have actually said, "Was that fresh dog shit smell?" Well, I'm thinking...
No, I'd smelt it, but I just didn't say anything.
That's fresh dog shit smell. Like someone had put a shoe next to your face and went, "Smell that." Kind of fresh dog shit smell.
Yeah.
Which is, probably a spirit playing up. And we know how to get rid of them.
But if you do have any cold spots in your house or things like that, do show up bad smells, really bad smells, even noises, little bumps in the night, you generally do have something there. So if you wanted to see it, just anti-focus or unfocus your eyes. But on that note, I think we'll wrap this one up for now. But in our next video, I think we're going to talk about an experience that we had when we were in the island of Java.
Yeah, well, you saw the Mothman and I didn't get to see it, but Harry, our tour guide mate from Bali, saw the Mothman with Loui, and I missed out, and that's got to suck.
Well, it's what we believe is the Mothman, but we'll explain that in the next video. So for now, we're going to sign off and say goodbye, but don't forget, if you like what you've seen, hit the like button, notifications. In any of those videos that you've just seen, if there's anything that you've seen that we haven't, please put it down in the comments section so we can check it out and have a look. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
And share the shit out of this video.
Share it as much as you want.
Share the shit out of it.
That too.
Like, really do that.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.